So a while back, I stopped watching anything with Whoopi Goldberg, and I'm glad I did. Hey there, this is Tom with Tom's Talk Show, and today we're going to kind of go over this whole Whoopi Goldberg thing and my perspective, whether it's good or bad. Yeah, so I because of a lot of her comments about President Trump and not being able to say President Trump and things like that. I mean, really, I had stopped watching any like Star Trek episodes or anything like that. I go through Star Trek episodes on a regular basis. Just filling time. You need some noise in the background. I have tinnitus, so I want something playing in the background, and I'll put a screen up that has Star Trek or Orville or something else up there, and now I've kind of made a playlist that specifically excludes her from anything because it's not what I want to watch. Just kind of her attitudes and things like that. So I've been kind of on this train already. But now, of course, we have this new thing with her comments. She's suspended for 2 weeks over her Holocaust comments, saying that it wasn't about a racial thing or anything like that. That it was just because it was just a bunch of people killing each other kind of thing. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it just seems that it was kind of insensitive. And then, of course, she gets pushed on to, I think, Stephen Colbert or something, to try and fix it, whatever. And she doubles down on that and says kind of the same thing and just says, okay, fine, I give up. Not really something that you'd want, especially since she claims to be Jewish, but in essence, she is not. So, yeah. So, a Jewish writer tells Whoopi Goldberg, who uses that as a stage name, to drop it because she caught. I mean, this is cultural appropriation 101, which is I don't have this. This is Elizabeth Warren level, kind of thing. I don't have any of this genetics or beliefs or anything in my body anywhere, but I'm going to use this. I'm just going to overtake this name just because, I think it's going to be to my advantage, right? So the host Whoopi Goldberg real name is Karen Johnson. So even in, let's see, we're going to go to Wikipedia. Even in Wikipedia, it states she has stated that her forename stage name Whoopi was taken from a whoopee cushion. It says we're performing on stage, you never really have time to go to the bathroom, close the door, so if you get a little gassy, you just gotta let it go. Okay, well, fine. About her stage surname, she claimed in 2011, which I have the articles up here that I've read through that she kind of covered. So this isn't just random stuff put into Wikipedia. She says, my mother did not name me Whoopi, but Goldberg is my name. It's part of my family, part of my heritage, just like being black. I know that I am Jewish. I practice nothing. I don't go to temple, but I do remember holidays. So, if you practice nothing, and just like Elizabeth Warren, right? The Indians, the tribes and things say, I don't care. They don't care what genetics you were born with. If you don't practice the ceremonies, if you're not there on, reservations, going to, Indian meetings, whatever they are, whatever they're doing, and bringing that whole part of the Indian culture into your life, then you're not Indian. So now she's saying she's Jewish, but she doesn't bring any of the culture into her life. So to me, you're not Jewish, right? She stated that people would just say, come on, you're Jewish, and she goes on about stuff. But then researcher Henry Louis Gates found that all of Goldberg's traceable ancestors were African American and that she had no known German or Jewish ancestry. So results of a DNA test in 2006 for the PBS documentary traced her ancestry to Papal and Bayot people of Guinea-Bissau, and her admixture test indicates that she is 92% sub-Saharan African and 8% European origin. So, yeah, no Jewish descent, no Jewish genes, no Jewish anything. Now you can. I would agree that you could take. I do believe listening on the radio years and years ago, Dr. Laura went through. She was a radio, kind of helping person, to give psychoanalysis. People would call in, it was kind of like a Dear Abby kind of Dr. Laura thing. And she was converting over to Judaism, and she was very serious about it. She wanted all the different, ceremonies, events, everything else, her life, her, all the different pieces of her life were part of that. So I think even if you were not born into a Jewish family, you can indoctrinate yourself into, a Jewish faith. Just like if you were not born into a Christian family, you can become a Christian. You can, that's probably the easiest thing to do is become a Christian. The hard part's afterwards, I think. But people born into a Mormon church and their families are raised Mormon, right? So, but you can become a Mormon. So it's all those things, but it all comes down to you practicing what that religion is and believing and digging in and believing and finding out, does this, this philosophy, this thing that I'm being told that I'm to believe in these ceremonies and everything and whatever you're going to, does this make sense, right? Does this hold truth? And then once you find out whether it's true or false, then you drop that and you move on to something else. Or you find out that this is the truth, then, boom, there you go. But she's doing none of that. So, I remember the holidays. Okay, well, do you really have a Seder? Do you really, do full Hanukkah, or are you on, just Christmas, right? We, even at our Christian church, we were, reviewing and going over the Festival of Bread and all of these things from the Old Testament, because those move forward and have relevance into the New Testament through communion and all of these different things, right? So that's really ingrained in, my belief system and everything else. So I could definitely call myself, Christian, because I do it, I believe it, I practice it. I don't just remember the holidays, right? No. So for her to say that, I think that's it's very disingenuous. It's very, just makes me not believe that, that she's Jewish. I mean, her family isn't even Jewish. I mean, you could say culturally, I'm, from this historically, my family genealogy, I'm this, but not even that. So full cultural appropriation, right there. And for her to get 2 weeks, right? So now she's getting, 2 weeks, sorry, off, but for Gina Carano saying something that kind of made sense, she gets fired, right? I mean, this was more of very much a discussion point. It's like, that history in Germany wasn't to just, go round them up. How do you turn your neighbors against your neighbors, kind of thing, which back then, even at that time, this was several years ago, right? This was like 2 years ago or something like that. 21, I guess, the beginning, almost a year or more ago. So now it's become even worse, because now it's a culture of, are you the poked or unpoked? Are you, how many pokes do you got? You got 3, 4, well, if you're not up with me, then, I can't be near you, kind of thing. And I'm not going to attack you, because you're not as poked as I am. So, that was even somewhat prophetic, right? And a truth to be discussed. Let's go back to even Roseanne Barr. I mean, her tweet that she made was probably was claiming it was a drunken Ambien tweet, which, okay, and she's a little, she's can be a very crass kind of comedian. That was her that was her thing. That was her deal. And she came out and explained and apologized and all that stuff. And nope, your series, your whole life, everything that you're doing is done. But because she was on a certain political aisle, you can't come back. Gina Carano on a certain political aisle can't come back. Whoopi Goldberg, slap on the wrist, go take your 2 weeks. I'm sure you needed a vacation anyway. So, just take your 2 weeks and just go hang out, right? And then come back and you'll be better. Probably not. But, I don't really watch, The View anyway, because it's really not a show for me. But, yeah, a lot of double standards, a lot of people not getting, her not getting called out for cultural appropriation, a lot of different things in this story that just, make it a little bit crazy. Whoopi Goldberg can have her views and her understanding of things, all she wants. To me, if that's what she wants to believe, that's how she wants to believe it, fine. The problem is she's going to teach her kids that, and, is that going to, cause them to teach their kids that, and then start to lose the meaning of and the actual history of the Holocaust and all of that, which is, we don't need to lose that. We need to understand that, and we need to make sure that that kind of thing never happens again. The Jews will always be here because in the Bible it tells us that there will always be a remnant of the Jews throughout all of history. So that's why we still have Jews today from the beginning, and they were never wiped out because that was God's promise that we would always have Jews here. So, and that everybody around Jewish people would be blessed by them. So that's another kind of thing that I don't reason to not think Whoopi Goldberg is a Jew, because people aren't really being blessed by her by these comments and things. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching this. And if you got any comments about it, do you think Whoopi should be fired permanently? Is 2 weeks too much? Should they have just blown it off? What are you thinking? I don't know. So, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe to my new channel. Thanks for hanging out.